Okay, in this lesson we're going to be doing full-blown bar chords, and we're going to be doing what's called E major form bar chords, and I'll explain that in a minute. But let's start, because what we're going to have to do, the tough thing is getting this first finger, this pointer finger, to press down all of the strings, all 6 strings at any place on the guitar neck. And when you first do it, you're probably going to have, something like this, where you can't get them all down. And what it is, it's adjusting your finger just right. I actually kind of turn my finger a little bit. I put them down and then I kind of roll it a little bit away, that way a little bit. I roll my finger, kind of helps me do it a little bit better. It actually helps maybe too if you put your finger farther over like that instead of right here. Sometimes it's hard to do it, more difficult that way. But you just have to find your own, special place where you want to get, because everybody's finger is different. And you've got to strengthen those muscles to be able to push all the strings down. Now if you're playing on an acoustic, it's going to be more difficult anyway. It's going to take more strength from your fingers. So if you're on an electric, it's going to be a lot easier, I think, at least to start with, doing these bar chords. So the first thing you need to do is just start, some people might think start at fret 1, but let's start up higher because it's easier to press them down up here. Let's just start at fret 9. Okay, and fret 9 is always the dot before the 2 dots, because the 2 dots is fret 12. So we come here and we have 9. Try to press all the strings down. Test them. Now here's the thing, if you don't get them all down, you have some muted, and you just can't do it, then just forget about it. Just go to the next one, and you'll eventually, your finger will fix it out, or work it out. Eventually your body will work it out, and you just have to keep moving on. Just let it be, not totally right for a while until you can do it. Just give it your best shot, And so that's one thing you want to practice, is just start at fret 9 and go down and then come back up, pressing all the strings. And you really have to pay attention to these higher strings, because those are the ones that always don't come out if you're, they get muted. But anyway, what you're going to do is, in the previous lesson we did the bar, or the power chord, and then we added the middle finger to get that chord, anywhere on the guitar. Well, all you're going to do is take what you just did and what you just practiced. Okay, if you didn't do that and practice that a lot, you need to do that first. Okay, now let's flatten out this first finger. Let's add these 2 exercises together. So you did this one already, where you practiced moving that movable chord around, and you've also just practiced this. Okay, moving that bar all over the neck. Now let's put those 2 things together. All right, we're going to have this chord. So finger this first. Let's go to fret 5. Okay, and let's do your major chord there, and then just take that first finger and flatten it out and try to press down all the strings, and then you want to get a little bit flat there. Let's try it again. Okay? Alright, so there's an A major chord. And you may remember, oh, this is an A major chord too. See how it sounds the same? It's just a different way of doing the chord. Okay, just take your thumb and test them all. And it's really best to do it this way, I think, with your thumb when you're first doing it, so you can really test the strings and see if you're getting them all down. Okay? And if you don't get them all down and it sounds like this, then that's fine. It still sounds okay, just until you can get all of them. Now let's move down to fret 3. That's a G chord. So is this. We learned how to do that earlier. Okay, this is a G chord as well. Let's move down to fret 1. This one's tough because it's closer to the nut here. So we fret 1. That's an F chord. Remember, we also learned to do an F chord this way. Okay, well here's the bar chord, and I prefer doing it this way. Okay, so F, G chord, A chord, and then a B chord. If you go here, but just move it all around. There's a C chord on fret 8 because this note is a C, and this was a C chord as well. See how they sound the same, but they also sound different. Okay, and these are all major chords. And let me explain why they're called E major form. Because remember we did the E major chord like this? Remember we did that? And we did the E chord? Well, that's essentially what you're doing. When you use these fingers like this, and I play the E chord, and you move it up, all you're doing when you make a bar is you're shortening the guitar. So actually the guitar starts here instead of down here. So it's just like the guitar, your finger's like a capo. It's just holding all the strings down, and you've transposed the guitar to this key. And so you're actually doing an E chord form every time. You're just moving this bar around. And this first finger is the bar. Just go up, and then come back down. Okay, so you just do that. Just go up and down the neck of the guitar with those chords, and those are called E form bar chords, and they're really tough. You probably are not going to be able to get them the first time or the first couple of days. May even take a couple of weeks to really get comfortable with them. But those are our first bar chords, and then in the next lesson we'll do a little chord progression, maybe a little song chord progression we can do with those chords.